Hi everyone, welcome back and welcome to another reading. This will be your general read for October 2023 for those of you who have a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. And if you don't identify as a Scorpio and it's the title or the thumbnail that drew you to this read, stick around. There may be something here for you. The fact is that we all have every sign in some house. It just depends on what your sun sign is, and what you would do is watch this reading and apply it in whatever part of your life you have Scorpio in. I'm sorry that you guys didn't get a reading for September, but I'm really glad to be back this month, releasing a video for you again. I received some very kind words along with donations submitted via PayPal, and when my motivation to continue to release these videos was waning, that's when I realized that these donations had come through, and those really kind words were enough to keep me going. I didn't know that it was having such a positive impact on people, and that's what it's all about. And that's, why I felt myself lacking motivation, just not feeling as though this was helping, and I was just gonna do the podcasting. But I'm back, and let's get into your reading. If what we talk about here doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, I encourage you to give it a watch in about a month or so, maybe month and a half, and it'll make more sense then. Sometimes it can be even 2 months, so it may be more helpful to you to watch a video that I released a couple months ago if what we talk about here just it's not clear. A lot of words just popped into my mind when I pulled that card out. War, terror, destruction. Also, All Falls Down by Kanye West. Classically good song. It is possible to separate the art from the individual. So whatever, personal feelings or opinions you may have about Kanye, the work speaks for itself. So the Tower card coming out first, this is Scorpionic energy. It's all about transformation, it's all about changing, and this is a very you card to come out first. And we talk about, Scorpio, and typically, it's a death card that we're talking about, and endings and beginning and the kind of transformation that comes with that. But what oftentimes doesn't get mentioned is that change, it doesn't come easy. It doesn't always happen overnight. And if something is crumbling right now, it was more than likely weeks, months, years in the making. And things have to line up. In order for that change to come about, you have to want it to happen as well. So change is always possible, and shifts and metamorphosis and transformation is always something that can happen, but there's a lot that goes into actually bringing that change about. And for you, you know, I think that there's a kind of evolution that's happening with your mentality, the way you view yourself, the way you understand a situation. It's kind of like when you read a book and then you put it down, and then a few years later you read that book again. And this it's not just this doesn't only happen with books, but it could be movies, it could be TV shows, it could be songs. When you revisit it after a period of time, you understand something different about it. It carries a different kind of meaning. It resonates differently for you. Maybe that's because you're listening more closely or reading more closely or paying more attention than you were the first time around. Or maybe it's because you have gained some kind of experience through living that makes you more, makes it easy for you to grasp and understand what was being discussed, what was being talked about, what was happening. So for you, I do think that there's a kind of maturity that you've gone through, that you've experienced, and whatever, you know, this thing is that's breaking down, or this this period of upheaval, you're going into it more informed than you were before. There's This is a very educational time. I think that, you know, this is true for you as it is for other people. Page of Swords coming out. There's just more clarity around surrounding tricky subjects or topics that are maybe off limits, things that maybe you couldn't speak about, or maybe didn't have the words or the language to talk about. Your understanding is just so elevated. Your perspective has just become so much more clear and well thought out. You will think up some new ways to make money. You will think up some new ways to be profitable and to make money the right way. One of the things that's changing is I think that you're getting more notoriety and you're getting more credit for your effort, for your work. There's things that you've done, good things that were done in the dark, that is coming to light. What's coming to light is that people are now associating you with those good things. They're associating your methodology, your approach with those good things, where once they used to believe the words of other people, that they were the ones that were responsible for it, and that you were just riding their coattails. But it's the other way around, especially if it's a Cancer. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but some of you are dealing with a Cancer or are dealing with a Virgo, and you're figuring out how to make it work with this person. Successful marriages, relationships, partnerships, they do take a considerable amount of effort. They do take, they require constant choices to be made. You choose that person every single day. You choose to continue to be with them, to work with them. And this is true not only for romantic relationships, but for, professional relationships as well. You choose to show up, you choose to put your best foot forward, and you choose to not allow your past hurts or past pains to corrode the relationship. You instead think about what you've learned, and you think about, how you can go into that relationship differently, whenever something doesn't work out, whenever something doesn't pan out, it doesn't pay to live in ignorance. It doesn't pay to not pay attention to what happened. And the best way to move forward is to be really honest about everything that transpired, be really honest about who was right, who was wrong, even if it's you that's wrong, and you don't tell that to anybody else. And that relationship crumbles, or that business opportunity, you cut ties with it, or you leave that job, whatever it is that, that was in the last chapter. If you don't rebuild that with that same individual or with that same company, the way that you grow in awareness is you take what you've learned into the next opportunity, into the next relationship, so that you don't make the same mistakes, so that you don't fall into the same holes, you don't fall into the same traps. And if you can get used to this particular method, if you can get used to this process of growth and expansion, and the kind of willingness to learn from past experiences, past mistakes, you're slated for something very beautiful here. Look at this. This is what leads to transformation. This is what leads to change. This is what makes your dreams come true. This is what makes your dreams a reality. This is what makes those dreams materialize. So, emphasis on the execution and on following through, doing what it takes. I'm going to pull one more and the question I'm going to ask is, what is it that you are manifesting? All right, let's talk about all of these, and we'll start in the top left and just kind of summarize all that's here for October. There's something really beautiful happening with your mindset, with your intelligence, both emotional and just, plain old-fashioned intelligence. I think that you appear smarter, you appear more wise. I think that your ability to articulate yourself and make your case and make rational decisions is certainly on display. I think it's what's going to take you from the 9 cups here to the 10 cups. And I think that you are going to be seen as a very necessary component in a lot of plans unfolding properly and unfolding successfully, both in your own life and in the lives of other people. And it has everything to do with the way you control damage. It has everything to do with the way you understand a situation, the way you are willing to understand yourself and have meetings of understanding with other people. This whatever this 3 of Swords is for you, if that's hesitation, if that's being lazy, if that's spreading yourself too thin, whatever it is that has been the thorn in your side that has prevented you from being all that you can be and being the best version of yourself. If you can be honest with yourself about whatever it is that is, and think rationally about how you can overcome that, and understand something about how you feel about that particular obstacle, how you feel about that particular roadblock, I think you will break down some barriers in your mind that'll make it easier for you to make some really smart choices. And there are some pretty big ones coming up that are going to require a clear mind, that are going to require that your judgment isn't clouded, that your vision isn't clouded by your feelings or your emotions. And I've said this in I think it was the Cancer read. I also think, this is why that card is there, is what Cancers are working on right now. They are, a water sign just like you. So your paths are not identical, but you're kind of experiencing something similar as just as far as the element is concerned. Don't you don't need to take revenge on anybody. It's such a waste of time, it's such a waste of energy. The life will handle those people who have done you wrong. And I think that when you take your time, your energy, and you devote it to causing someone else pain, and you take justice into your own hands to make their life a living hell because that's what they did to you, it really does, you know, hurt you in the long run. This is time, and this is time that you're taking away from yourself and building yourself up and clearing your own path. Let God handle those people and focus on what you can do to bring about the outcome that you would like. So avoid the temptation to take revenge, avoid the temptation to settle the score. It never works out, and it makes you no better than them. And the hole that you ditch for someone else, it is true that, you know, there's a very real possibility that you could end up falling in it. And we don't need that. We're trying to be better than that. Instead, take the lesson, right? You know, it's not as it's not always instant gratification, you know, the kind of gratification that may come from seeing the person who did you wrong suffer. If you just let things play out the way that they're supposed to do, and your conscience and your karma is clear, you don't even, you know, waste time wishing that something bad happens to them. Just move on and build something different, build something better, and you will find that you will be surrounded by people who are going to be willing to pour into you the same way that you pour into them. And what you're manifesting is that kind of reciprocity. Remember, we asked that question. What you're manifesting is someone who's willing to pay it forward with you. I hope this helped, truly. If you're looking for more content, you're welcome to check out the Way Out podcast. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find it by searching The Way Out and then my first name, Tyson, if you'd like. It's great to talk to you again like this, and I hope to see you next time.